Today in the battle arena, well, we've got two of the most powerful guys in all of comics going head to head. Dr. Manhattan is going up against Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet. So who's come out on top here? Let's find out. Dr. John Osterman was a lowly lab technician before he was caught in a radioactive particle test. He returned as a godlike superhuman. Dr. Manhattan is powerful and is highly intelligent, yet he grew to become emotionally distant towards people. He's also the only superhero with actual powers in the Watchmen storyline. Manhattan seems to have mastery over the manipulation of matter energies around him, as well as an understanding of their makeup on the fundamental level. This control even extends to a complete control over his physical person, meaning he's able to actually piece himself back together if he was ever destroyed. He's demonstrated such things as altering his size, displaying godlike strength, teleporting himself and other individuals wherever he wants. He can create copies of himself to act independently, turn intangible, and create environmental fields. Manhattan has shown the ability to manipulate matter and actually control things down to the atomic level. He's been able to create crystalline structures on Mars, create water, melt tanks, turn guns into steam, bullets to mercury, and a bottle into snowflakes. Dr. Manhattan also has the ability to move an opponent's intrinsic field and disintegrate his targets. Manhattan also has a unique perception of time and can seemingly perceive all events that occur in his life simultaneously. Because of his unique perception of time, matter, and energy, he doesn't view humanity in the same way that we do, and he might even be incapable of normal human emotions. So, that's what we got in one corner. A god amongst men, Dr. Manhattan. But entering the ring in the other corner was none other than the Mad Titan, Thanos. Thanos is an Eternal with the deviant gene, making him unique and extremely powerful, even amongst his own kind. Above all else, Thanos loves and worships Mistress Death, the embodied entity of death in the Marvel Universe. Few can equal his intelligence, strength, and ambition for power. He's wielded the Cosmic Cube, the Infinity Gauntlet, and even the heart of the universe. The Infinity Gauntlet is one of the most powerful artifacts in the Marvel Universe, and is composed of the 6 Infinity Gems: the Soul Gem, the Mind Gem, the Power Gem, the Time Gem, the Space Gem, and the Reality Gem. When Thanos wielded the Infinity Gauntlet, it gave him much more power than even the Cosmic Cube did, and according to the Mad Titan, it gave him the power to become God. Not a god like Thor or Hercules, but God. He also declares himself to be the supreme being of the universe, not just one universe, but all universes. Now, with the gauntlet, Thanos is able to create life from nothing, and is powerful enough to destroy giant red stars, wipe out entire planets without even having to attack, and devastate Asgard. He was able to overwhelm Doctor Strange with a simple handclap from several planets away, freeze time, shatter Captain America's shield with the Power Gem alone, and easily defeat Mephisto even while they were in hell. He's durable enough to resist Master Order and Lord Chaos's attempt to erase him, and withstood a blast from several abstract beings like Galactus and Mistress Death. Thanos even went on to defeat Galactus, Eon, the Stranger, Master Order and Lord Chaos, Kronos, and even defeated Eternity. The guy is an enormous threat, one of the most powerful beings in all of Marvel Comics, and even wiped out half the life in the universe with the simple snap of his fingers. So who wins? Well, let's break it down. Now today we've got two incredibly powerful guys going head to head. It's none other than Thanos going up against Dr. Manhattan. So who's come out on top here? Well, let's find out. So the only question we really need to answer here is who is more powerful? Simple as that. So who is more powerful? Well, let's start off by taking a look at what the Infinity Gauntlet is. The Infinity Gauntlet gives the wielders the abilities of all 6 Infinity Gems. And true masters of the Infinity Gauntlet, like Thanos, have total control over the 6 fundamental aspects of creation: power, mind, space, time, soul, and reality. The only thing that really limits the wielder of the Infinity Gauntlet would be their imagination, their willpower, and their strength of mind, all of which Thanos has in excess. And Thanos even said that having the Infinity Gauntlet makes you omnipotent. Although it's important to note, omnipotent has a real different definition in comics, as almost everyone says that they are omnipotent or nigh omnipotent, but the only true omnipotent being, at least in Marvel, is the one above all. That's why he's called the one above all. Anyways, with the Infinity Gauntlet, Thanos referred to himself as God. And when he came to Mistress Death, his love, Death wouldn't even speak to him, because according to her servant, Thanos was now leagues above Death, and she actually had no authority to speak directly to him. He also said that the power of the Cosmic Cube was dwarfed by the power of the Infinity Gauntlet. And yet, with the Cosmic Cube, Thanos was still able to warp reality, create life out of nothing, defeat Kronos, and become one with the universe. And Thanos said the Infinity Gauntlet was still drastically more powerful than that. He's able to destroy a planet with a thought, and kill half of the universe with a snap. He's able to easily freeze time and create life, and his anger alone is enough to literally shake space and time. He's omnipresent, stating that he can be everywhere and anywhere at once. He's able to enter into people's minds with the Mind Gem, and is even able to control souls, manipulating Drax's soul, taking away his hatred for Thanos, and redirecting that hatred towards Silver Surfer. He's also easily battled against overpowered abstract beings. Master Order and Lord Chaos tried to defeat Thanos with reality warping, and Thanos just easily blasted them away. Kronos tried to kill Thanos by sending him through time, but Thanos was able to overpower him through the Time Gem. Thanos even fought against Sire Hate, Chaos, Kronos, Mephisto, the one above all, the Celestial, Eon, Galactus, Xiron, Order, Stranger, and Mistress Love. Yet all of their power combined was not enough, and Thanos still managed to overpower them and imprison all of them except for one. He then fought against Eternity one-on-one, and actually took Eternity's place in the universe. But let's flip the script. On the other hand, with Dr. Manhattan, well, what has he done? For starters, he's traveled back in time and saved Superman's father, Jor-El. He's caused disruptions within the temporal nanostructure of the timeline, and even kept Flashpoint running, even though the Flashpoint universe wasn't supposed to exist. He's able to teleport himself and others anywhere inside the universe, and even to different universes. He can allegedly change a gun into steam, bullets into mercury, or a bottle into a snowflake. And he's able to effortlessly defeat DC's heroes, even killing Reverse Flash and disintegrating Owlman. When Manhattan fought against the heroes again, it appeared they had managed to kill him, yet he just easily reformed himself. This also isn't the first time he's done this, and he's even toyed with the idea of making human life before. He can look into his own timeline, past, present, and future. And because of this, he knows what people will say to him since he's already lived it in the future. He can sense tachyons, can read atoms, but probably most impressively is Dr. Manhattan's ability to create different timelines or universes. But it's important to understand that Manhattan isn't creating universes like Franklin Richards, where he's just creating universes and chucking them out into the great beyond. So if that's not how Manhattan does it, well, then how does he do it? Well, it turns out his interference actually began all the way back in the 1940s, as Manhattan prevented events from happening in DC's Golden Age in order to form the current timeline into his own version of DC Earth. It really does appear that the current DC timeline only exists in its current form because of Dr. Manhattan's manipulations. However, this doesn't mean that Manhattan necessarily created the DC universe. Ozymandias asked Manhattan why he was here, and John said that he hoped he would find a place among other superpowered people here, implying that DC Earth was always there, and Manhattan just entered into it. So if Manhattan didn't create the DC universe, what did he do? How did he form the current timeline in his own version of Earth? Well, that's kind of simple. You see, even way back in the original Watchmen story, Manhattan had the ability to look into his own timeline, past, present, and future. It's got limits, and his vision isn't absolute, but he experiences the future at the same time as the present. So he'll know what people will say to him before they actually say it, because he's already lived it in the future. Then in the Before Watchmen series, we saw that Dr. Manhattan can travel back in time to an alternate timeline, exist in two timelines simultaneously, alter the outcomes of an event, and even merge multiple timelines. In this series, Dr. Manhattan even said that he created and destroyed alternate universes. And while that's technically true, at best it's partially true. You see, he didn't literally create new universes, as the physics of the DC universe just means that if you change an event, a new timeline forms. It's not creating a new universe outright. Basically, he's a time traveler along his own timeline, and he's changed things, fracturing quantum reality, and two realities formed, each of them perfectly valid. And then when he said that he destroyed alternate universes, well, it was just when he merged the alternate timelines, forming them into one, and so technically they ceased to exist. And he wasn't able to erase the alternate timelines with just the wave of a hand, the blink of an eye, like some omnipotent or multiversal being. He actually had to go back and travel into the timelines, fixing every choice he made in order to get the timeline back on track and the way it was meant to be. So less like a god and more like Marty McFly and Doc hopping into the DeLorean. This is basically the same thing that we've seen him do with Rebirth. He didn't actually create the New 52 universe, but just removed 10 years from the real timeline, and that became the New 52. He did this basically the same way, by changing small little things, like moving Alan Scott 6 inches to the left so he can't touch the Green Lantern, doesn't become one of the first superheroes, the Justice Society of America is never formed. Things like that. So he didn't actually warp the DC multiverse in the typical sense, but just did what we've seen him do before in creating alternate timelines. I know that's a lot, but it's really important that we establish Dr. Manhattan's power level, not just go off of simple hearsay. So, with all that being said, what does all this mean? Well, Dr. Manhattan is still clearly powerful. In fact, it appears that he's more powerful than Mr. Mxyzptlk, a fifth dimensional being. But I think it's tough to say that Mix, or even Manhattan himself, is more powerful than a combination of Sire Hate, Chaos, Kronos, Mephisto, One Above All, Eon, Galactus, Zyron, Order, Stranger, and Mistress Love. Yet Thanos was able to defeat all of them by himself. We've also seen that the Infinity Gauntlet is able to match up against the power of the Beyonders themselves. Doctor Doom managed to absorb the power of the entire Beyonders race, where just 3 of them were able to kill the Living Tribunal, a being who exists in, oversees, and manipulates an infinite dimensional hierarchy. And Black Panther is able to fight against him with the Infinity Gauntlet. And T'Challa is an inexperienced user with the Gauntlet, so you kinda gotta assume that Thanos would have done a better job. So, end of the day, who's coming out on top here? Well, it's really possible that this could just end in a stalemate or draw, where neither is really able to beat the other because they both have basically the same powers. But if I had to pick one, well, I'm gonna go with Thanos. Thanos has just shown himself to be on a more consistently higher basis, and he's matched up against more powerful beings, defeating pretty much every abstract being in Marvel, while Manhattan has just encountered Mr. Mix. So yeah, gonna give this one over to Thanos. Thanos wins. But what do y'all think? I would love to hear your thoughts. Sign off in the comments down below. Also, be sure that like button, subscribe button, and turn notification on the DanCo army, and I will see y'all next time.